Hey team, on today's episode on the podcast here in the studio kitchen we have the lovely Meghan Asha, CEO of Founder Made, Chief Epic Officer she is. We also learn about the butternut squash you find at Charlie Street's Tahini Time base, and also how this lovely lady built a business she absolutely loves whilst, doing two other main hustles, and then transformed it into something phenomenal. So you're going to learn a lot on today's show. Meghan Asha, CEO of, and we say founder obviously, right? Of Founder Made.
Founder Made.
Founder Made. I'm going to call you Chief Epic Officer because I remember meeting you for the first time here at Charlie Street. We're sitting at the family table, and I think within 15 seconds, I knew that we were going to be very good friends for a long time, just purely based off the fact that we can probably chat everyone's ear off, have that same energy. But thank you for being here. I'm a massive fan of what you've been able to do for brands and people and just individuals alike, and obviously very inspiring. But for those of listeners who want to know more about Founder Made and whatnot, I want to please tell the story of what Founder Made is.
Well, Founder Made is a platform that discovers the best consumer brands and helps them build in food, beauty, and wellness. This actually wasn't supposed to be a business. It started off as a dinner series that I did for fun as a side hustle when I had two jobs, and then it was really something that I said, well, I'm supposed to be an entrepreneur. I was working in venture capital and I was working in consulting for a bunch of startups, but I knew I was supposed to be an entrepreneur again. So I'm sitting there and I'm being an investor and I'm sitting on the table of judging all these entrepreneurs, companies, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, wait, my dad was an entrepreneur and I was an entrepreneur before, but I don't know what I want to do. And so I said, well, what were you missing in your last business? And I started this as a dinner series because I said, when you're 90, what will make you happy?
See, this is phenomenal, and it's a pure reason why I love doing a podcast that I guess harmoniously is about hearing people's stories but over food, because hearing initially how Founder Made was created upon a dinner series, it just absolutely supports my theory on how food is just so uniting in so many ways. So thank you for supporting my theory by creating Founder Made in itself. But I also want to hear, more importantly, about you and your upbringing. So, where were you actually born?
Born San Jose, Silicon Valley.
Sure, but your family history?
My family history, my dad came from India with a backpack and nothing else to the States.
Okay.
And he bought a patent when he was working when I was 2 years old at Hewlett-Packard, and he decided to be an entrepreneur. And we started living in an apartment and then we ended up, his company, ever since I was 2 years old, it was his daddy's company going public.
Okay.
So I literally was like living with a very crazy Indian entrepreneur, very type A, and he worked his butt off. And then literally when I was 17, his company went public. And so we watched, and we were in the first kind of bubble of the 90s. So we watched, all of these massive tech companies be built. And my dad's company, he did that. And then we went from living in an apartment to a house next to famous athletes. So, and then now that house is gone. So I always say success isn't linear. Just be a good person the entire time, because frankly, the most successful people that I know are the most understated, humble, people. And I think part of that journey of watching my dad, who as an entrepreneur, do really well and then lose stuff and then do well again and then lose it again. That journey is why I created Founder Made, because I believe that in order for you to be an entrepreneur, it takes so much guts and it takes so much perseverance and it actually takes so much support, but people don't want to talk about how hard it really is. And so I started the dinner series really as mentoring my younger self as an early entrepreneur and all these other entrepreneurs that didn't have, that maybe had a great idea but didn't quite believe in themselves yet. And so what I would do is I'd bring an entrepreneur who had crushed it but had a great war story to tell, and it became this whole founder's therapy. So they were just talking about the real stuff, and it was all behind closed doors, talking about, well, should I fundraise, should I not? Oh my God, my investors are this, or I can't get distribution, or my co-founder is doing this. And that type of honest conversation with people that were at different stages and different levels but had the same, I guess, chutzpah or energy of wanting to build something in the world, that's what makes things truly, I think, makes the mission of Founder Made really special.
Yeah, so for those listeners, obviously, hearing Meghan's got a beautiful energy about her. You can tell that it's the ability to put you on a seat and see you sit still would be a challenge, I reckon. So, which we all love, and it takes a lot. There's different types of behaviours and individuals and leaders. but there's a reason of energy that you just draw people to you. Now, we'll get on to specifics of Founder Made and the decisions that you would have made, the harder decisions that people would learn from in a bit later. But just to start off with, let's talk about you and your personality and how much that was developed when you were younger, and your behaviour and your thought processes. Because having your father, as you said, go through those phases at probably even an early stage of what is now known as, I guess, reaching an IPO in tech, right? So for you to experience that at a young age, what was your life like? Like you said, on a more macro scale, but talk about your day to day. Like, what was that like for you and your family?
Yeah, when I was a little girl and my dad was gone 3 weeks out of every month, like literally traveling around the world trying to get the big deals done. So, but he made time for us and had the quality time. I actually don't think it's the amount of time you spend with someone, it's actually the quality of time.
Sure.
And I think for me, because I was firstborn Indian daughter, I was actually firstborn Indian son-ish. And so I would bring home an A and he'd be like, well, where's the A+? And so I had that like feeling of wanting to please him throughout my own journey. And actually when I graduated from undergrad, I wanted to go into business. I actually took a job to please him versus actually doing what I probably wanted to do, which is I took a job in finance. I thought if I worked at a hedge fund, my dad would love me and he'd think I was so successful and I'd make all this money. And it was so interesting because I put all these people in finance on such pedestals, and actually it's interesting because I joined the top tier hedge fund in technology. It was like the one my dad said, either go to business school or work for this guy Raj. And turns out, you cannot, I don't care how successful you are, you can't buy integrity. And that he ended up going to jail, the old hedge fund manager. So I think that that journey of just seeing that money doesn't bring you happiness, doing something that you think that your parents should do isn't what is actually takes a lot longer. So for anyone out there that's like thinking that they should do something for someone else, I think you first have to come back to what your core mission is, and maybe you don't know what that is, but you can start small. And I wish I had done that, frankly, when I graduated from college and figured out my stuff. But then again, now I'm at this journey and this point, and I wouldn't appreciate where I'm at now if I hadn't gone through working in finance and trying to please my father.
Yeah, I think like the fact you took your comment back just then made me. I was about to say, like, do you kind of like wish, because I feel like that stage of your growth. I mean, on a specific scale, you would have learned a lot about business, which you, I'm sure, no doubt, use day to day. But more importantly, the experience you learned from yourself throughout that process is something that I think you cannot put into any form of monetary value. Like, that you are a pure reason and an example of why doing what you love is true to your passion and future success. Because you can do what someone else you think is going to please them. You can do what it's going to make you a lot of money and have a great house. But ultimately, what's going to get you up every single day and just tick and be you and be happy to be motivated to inspire a team to follow the passion and what you truly believe in. Because that difference is what you've now got with Founder Made. That's what I think is really cool. You can see it from your energy. So we will talk.
And I can see
that.
From your energy where I'm like, what gets you up every day? I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, life.
Building like on a huge mission.
Yeah, 100%.
Awesome.
Like changing the world through food is something I genuinely am passionate about. And people are like, what is that? I'm like, well, it's a big conversation, but essentially food is the only universal language that we have. And I have the power and the ability to have educate people on certain things, but also through means of just seeing in vision and taste. You can taste how nutrients in soil are declining, and how that has an ecological effect in other areas of life. So it can all start with a plate to determine things, and that's time for another conversation. Maybe.
But I love the fact that you have that mission statement, which is changing the world through food, because I think from that so much can grow. And like when I think about what my mission statement is, it's helping others build. That's like what I want on my tombstone. That's what I just want to help others build their dreams, build themselves, build our team, and then from there, I mean, Founder Made, whatever it is, the way that you are with your team and helping them grow, it's awesome.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, there's definitely going to be a 2.0 podcast here. I can 100% feel it. Going on to, let's go back to being, of Indian descent in America, or Caucasian situation, and then also, let's talk about, growing up, what you have learned by yourself. Thank you. What you have learned about,
Can you let that question over?
Yep. Let's talk about being an Indian. Let's talk about being of Indian descent in a Caucasian, majority country. What challenges did you face both within your family and schooling growing up, and how maybe they led to some sort of form of success here today?
So it's interesting. I never felt like I fit because I'm half Indian and I'm half Caucasian. So my mom's blonde, and she would come in. My dad would say, "I'd say, what do you think about being Indian?" And my father would say, "Ask your mom what she thinks about being Polish." And so my mom would come in, and my mom had like long blonde hair down to her butt, and she'd come into my elementary school where I was the only Indian girl in a Caucasian elementary school, and she'd wear saris, and she'd bring in smelly food, and I'd be like, oh my gosh, what is happening? But I think that was back in the day when diversity wasn't, and the inclusion wasn't as on the forefront. But I never really felt like I fit, and I think that is partially what drives me as an entrepreneur. Is I never feel like I'm that comfortable.
Do you have a chip on your shoulder? Did you have a chip on your shoulder?
Oh, I definitely do.
Okay.
Definitely. I definitely do. Because I worked in tech before years back and had a digital media platform. We were one of like two, a couple girls that raised money and did it back in the day. And yeah, of course.
So
I have a lot of big chip, but in a good way.
That's great though. If it's what helps motivate you in a way, and most importantly, it's what internally motivates you, not from what other. As you said, you thought motivating through father. You thought by being motivated through what you thought your father would love you to do, and what maybe financially rewarding is great. But internally, it's now you truly know how you're going to get up every day. Like you're not going to get up at 5 a.m. every day just because you think you need to earn a lot of money. You actually know you're going to make a difference. So on that note, it's making a difference. I'm going to make a difference with your flavor bombs today. So
yes.
You requested on the show we always make an epic dish. Usually it's not on the Charlie Street menu, but you said anything on the Charlie Street menu, please. So I'm going to make you our most popular bowl. It is the tahini time. I'm actually going to showcase the main part, which is our spread, our signature spread. It's the butternut coconut squash. So we're going to listen to one of our sponsors, and when we get back, we'll start the prep. Are you ready?
I'm so excited.
Let's do it. All right, and we're back, and it's time to get my cooking on. So, direct your eyes. Team, 2 butternut squash. Okay, this is a beautiful starchy number. You can swap it for sweet potato, other pumpkin. Essentially, what we're going to do here is roast this and blitz it. So to do that, we're going to peel first. Guarantee having a good peeler does help. So simply just peel for a bit. Actually, how's your peeling game? You be the first to actually do some prep here. Do you want to do some prep?
I mean, if I'm the first, then I'll do it.
Yeah,
I'll do it.
You're like, yeah, are you? Yeah.
I will do anything.
Yeah.
Perfect,
Anything
great. Here we go.
first. Anything first.
Okay, perfect. Here we go. And this is not the way, but we're going to do it.
Oh, Meghan Asha.
Is it
everybody.
good? We're doing
great.
it.
I'm putting it on the line. I'll go get head chef Jessie and she'll be stoked.
My fiance would laugh about this whole thing. He sees me doing dishes, not cooking.
Do you cook at all?
Medium.
Okay.
I am I'm much more encouraging in the kitchen for the cooks.
Okay. So
I'm more of like the cheerleader for cooks.
So you're a really good support network. Okay.
Yes, support network.
Yeah,
that's what I call it.
Great.
Kitchen support network.
Are you the person holding the glass of red, chilling on the side?
Totally.
How was your day?
How was your day? No, I'm literally like, this is amazing. You guys are all complete artists. Complete artists. I will watch it and I will clean after.
Okay. So what actually is your relationship with food like?
With food,
Yeah.
I have had an interesting journey with food. So when I was younger, when I was in college or in high school.
You've done a great job, by the way.
Thank you.
Just,
how is this?
Interrupt your
For
answer.
you to say this
is great. She's done most of it. I'm just going to get little edges while she answers her relationship with food question.
So, because I think it's important to be transparent about every, the journey, and everybody has their own journey with food. But when I was younger, very type A and had an eating disorder in college.
Okay.
And then, was very, very strict about dieting and, but then got over it, did the whole thing. And now I love food. Because we build like a consumer discovery platform where we're discovering all the best products in food and wellness and beauty. It's really like we get to taste everything, get to do everything. And then I also run marathons. So
you run this year?
I got this thing last year in my head that I was going to run a marathon on every continent.
Right.
And so
What,
last year,
in general, or?
well, no, I ran years back. I'm more of a runcation kind of gal.
Okay.
And so, and I'm friends with, one of my friends is highly plant-based, this guy Brendan Brazier from Vega.
Yeah.
And he said, listen, if you go plant-based, it'll actually help you for recovery when you're doing marathons. And so went plant-based last year, and it changed my recovery. But I go back and forth from plant-based sometimes, and frankly, like if I'm in like Paris and I want to eat a great meal, I'm gonna do it. But I try to be majority plant-based. But I ran a marathon in Australia, in Paris, in Patagonia, in Mount Fuji Marathon in Japan.
I'm just getting absolute
It's
FOMO
so
right now.
awesome. I did New York Marathon 10 years ago.
Are you gonna do it again?
I plan like one of those people that runs it once, sees it. I feel like I'm like running to see the world,
Could
and
I
then
challenge you to run on the City Harvest team?
I don't know.
I mean, would you?
Potentially. I think you guys are gonna be much faster. I'm like
There's 50 of us, so you got Chernow and I as co-captains.
Okay.
So then we got 25 people technically each. If you're interested, I'll see if I've got a spot there. But
okay.
This just in, I may have just convinced Meghan herself to run in the New York City Marathon in 2019 with City Harvest. We'll see what happens. Do you mind talking a bit about your situation when you were younger?
Yeah, when I was, you mean an eating disorder or whatever?
Disorder. Yeah, what do you specifically have? If you don't
So
mind?
yeah, so a combination of like bulimia and then not eating,
Sure.
and it was, I think, because I had modeled when I was younger, and I think there's a combination of focus on looks, and I needed something to control. Like I was always like type A, straight A student, president of all the clubs, and I think that like some types of emotional things happen when you and some family stuff, and I think you just. You know, when you're younger, you're so hard on yourself. You don't have like the support. You don't know how to get to the support.
Of course.
But what's awesome is like I love eating. And I think that any of those people or any people that are going through that type of a issue with food, I think you can get through it. Just know that you can get through it. You can enjoy food. You can eat whatever you want. You can think about it as like much more of an experience and fun, and you can have a great body and have great health.
And what was it for you that got you out of it?
I think it was a combination. So I think it was, my parents, actually it's interesting. So when I had it in college, my parents I wanted to go to almost like a spa type of recovery center. And my parents were like, nope, you're gonna go to Oxnard, California. And so they put me in like a hospital. And I was basically with people that were very close to almost, they wanted to die. And I looked at these people, like these women, and I said, you can either choose to be this, you can choose to be sick, or you can choose to be alive. And I said, I'm going to choose life, and that's it. And so it was a journey. It was a journey, and definitely in my 20s, it was a much bigger journey. But and then I think also when I moved to New York, it's so different. I think I'm so busy. There's so much to do. You're around people, and you don't feel so alone. And so that was another, I think, shift, which was moving to New York and finding, for your family and your friends here.
That's awesome. So firstly, thanks for sharing. But I think it's really cool that you realize that, by, I wouldn't say distraction, but you found a focus. You found something outside of something else that may have caused you to be in this hole that, got you out of it. And you highlight the fact that food is super tasty and epic. Speaking of, so just a little recap, guys. We've peeled. I haven't peeled. Megan's peeled. And then what I've done with the butternut squash, it actually has almost like a bulb at the end, which is where the seeds are. And I'm just going to put this back together. So I deconstructed. I'm now going to construct. You've got the butternut squash like so. I've just simply taken the knob or the sack part off, which is where all the seeds are, and just cut that in half. So that can then just be peeled. So I'm just going to get you actually your plate. You want to scoop that out?
Yes.
So Megan's
I
gonna
love
scoop
this.
out the seeds. I'm going to put that into just a discardable bowl, which I probably should have had when I was peeling earlier. So you can actually use these seeds and roast them, put some olive oil, salt, and you have little things like, they're called pepitas. So you can then have little toasty little situations in your salad and stuff like that. Using the entire butternut squash. 2.0. How's your game?
I mean, this is great.
You learning?
I'm really learning. As
You're
I'm
gonna
like
go home and the man's
throwing,
gonna be like, see
yeah, right. Yeah, him in the counter are gonna be really impressed with my whole.
Well, you've gone from being the red wine holder to then all of a sudden you're like, yo, check it out, I'm peeling some butternut squash.
Oh my gosh, he'll be very impressed. He will be very impressed with the whole experience.
So whilst you're doing that, okay, so guys, all you have to do is just simply slice your butternut squash, and you'll have to find a base of support. So that's quite a stable base. So for those playing at home and listening, I've just cut a slice and it made it so it will plonk easily down on the surface and does not roll away. So from there, just kind of cut it into chunks. Small pieces, the better, in my opinion, because you get more of the heat attacking more surface area, which means deeper colour. So that means deeper flavour. So just going to repeat that all the way through. And as I do this, we're going to talk about Founder Made specifically. So you were talking about, Megan, the fact that it came about because of a dinner series. Why did the dinner series even start in the first place?
Because I asked myself when I'm 90 what will make me happy, and I said I'm going to do 12 dinners. I'm going to call them Founder Made, and I'm going to bring entrepreneurs who crushed it in business, but basically it was really hard for them when they started and no one believed in them, and I'm going to have them tell their real story about how they started their business. And
wow. And were you actually still working at the investment?
Yeah, I was working actually 2 jobs for the first year and a half that Founder Made started.
Okay.
2 years. So it's interesting because in my past businesses, I would quit everything and I would just go for it. And this was something that I really had to earn the right and see that there was a real revenue stream and understand the business model and commit. And also, it was so much fun that I didn't even think it was a business. So I was like, how could this even be something that I could turn into a business? It was really like doing something as a side hustle. We would do these conferences, and then we looked back and we're like, oh my goodness, we made some real revenue. There's some demand here. Wow, should we keep this as a side hustle or should we go all in? And there are just these little parts of the journey that, and I always believe this, that the universe or whatever you believe in gives you signs that you're supposed to do something.
Sure.
So everything from finding office space that was half the price in Soho, and you're like, wait, there's no way that an office space that's 2,500 square feet costs half the price, and or whatever it is. And I know in Soho, and I'm like, this must be a sign from the universe that I'm supposed to start a company, or I'm supposed to actually. I mean, the company was already started, but I'm supposed to actually focus my full time on this.
Wow.
So
good for you. I mean, I want to know, so you actually thought of the fact, you thought of doing 12 dinners, but where did that even come from? Obviously just like, well, let's do one a month, right?
I used to throw these female founder dinners.
Okay.
And so it was more just this whole thing of, I love these entrepreneurs that I knew in my first business in the digital media platform that I started.
Sure.
And and also all these entrepreneurs had evolved. So it would be like the founder of Squarespace or these and they had started, and literally I knew them when they had 3 people working with them.
No
way. So they were on my. I had a web show. It was a live web show called and it was called Founder Friday. So that was my first business. So I'd known all these entrepreneurs, and so they were all my friends. And I said, listen, you have an amazing story. I know that the next Squarespace is out there. I know that the next tech entrepreneurs out there. But I think you need to spread the word and help them believe in themselves by telling your story.
It's absolutely phenomenal that you feel so much out of connecting people to the point that you can actually make a business out of it. I think that's actually quite beautiful, because you hear all the time people loving, like, oh, I'll introduce you to this person and whatnot. And it's great because you're almost doing a favor and you're doing it out of the fact that you want to. And you've done that, but also you've monetized it. So we'll get to that in a second, but I just want to highlight that. I reckon that's really cool, because all the time you hear people like, oh, I know so-and-so is going to connect you to this person. That's what's the beauty of New York City where we're in. Someone knows someone.
Yep, someone knows someone. You can get in anywhere. Yep.
It's fantastic. Okay, so these dinners, be descriptive about them, where there's a chef involved.
We wish we had you. Oh my God. This is like 2016, 15, 16. If we had met you, oh my gosh. So we did them, dinners at private homes, and then we also did it at art galleries. Sweet. But none of the food was as good as what you're about to do.
This butternut squash game is looking pretty awesome.
Unbelievable! I can't believe you just sliced that up while we were talking.
So we just chopped up the butternut squash. We're now going to drizzle it with some olive oil. So we're going to add olive oil first, Megan, because that will allow the salt, which we're about to add, just to stick to it nicely. So how's your salt, babe?
This is great.
Yeah,
What am I supposed to do with the Salt Bay? Okay.
Salt Bay, go like that.
Oh.
You know that
Oh
before?
yes. No, I know about this influencer.
Yeah, pizzazz. Add some swag to it. That's great. Oh, you make sure you hit up the video, guys, because you would have just seen.
Oh yes.
In her element.
We'll do boomerangs on it. Yeah.
All day. So with that, guys, that goes straight into the oven, preheated to 420 degrees Fahrenheit for about 20-25 minutes or until golden. Guess what though? We didn't have to wait 20 minutes because I prepared one earlier.
Yes.
Yeah.
The magic. The magic.
I love saying that. We'll talk about the oven in a second though. So, okay, so these dinners are awesome. They're kicking off. They're doing really well. What happens next? You're building some revenue. Do you realize, okay, do I raise some money now? Like,
Great question. So it turned into conferences. So we started the dinners, and then I wanted Daniel from Kind Bar.
yes.
And he was launching a book series.
Okay.
And so I was talking to his PR team, and I'm like, listen, Daniel has to speak at one of my dinners. And she's like, well, he's only going to, it would be better if he spoke in front of 300 people. This is while I'm juggling 2 jobs. I'm like, oh, I can get 300 people and do a conference. Let's do a wellness conference. So we basically did an investing in wellness conference because I really wanted Daniel to tell his story. And I've never really produced or thrown any type of conference. And so we did it at the Gansevoort Hotel. I had a dream of these gift bags, and I actually had put like inspirational mantras on the gift bags, ironing them. So there's all these amazing products in the gift bags. It was from 6 to 9 p.m. at the Gansevoort Hotel in the meatpacking. We did it, it was basically investing in wellness. We had wellness sharks. So we had everyone from Daniel from Kind Bar. We had founder of like Stacy's Pita Chips. We had the Well and Good founders. And we basically did this and we did a Shark Tank for wellness. So we but this was all while I was doing this just because it was fun. I was like, this is like TechCrunch, but or any of these, types of incubator programs, but for the wellness community.
Whilst having 2 other jobs.
Yeah.
That's.
But it was so fun. I mean, I was like, I was selling booths in like the corner of my, in the elevator docks of my company. I'd be like taking my meetings, I get my work done, and then I'd be like, hey, so yes, I have to talk to this matcha company and sell a booth because we need to make at least enough money to cover the cost of the conference.
One of my best mates and a co-founder of Charlie Street works in private equity, and KD, to get any time away from his cubicle is tough. The fact that you were able to organise 300 people whilst having 2 jobs, that astounds me.
That's great.
Did you get the other jobs done?
What?
Did you still get the other jobs done?
I did.
Yeah,
I did.
Still delivered.
It was great.
But you started to see yourself being more passionate about this thing, right?
Yeah, it was something, and I think that you can probably relate to this, where it's if you are dreaming about it and you're thinking about it, and even your weekends are filled with it because you're so excited about it and you're so excited by the possibility, then it's something that you can't not do.
So, okay. I need to get this story to like where it needs to be.
I know, sorry, it's a long story.
No, this is great. I'm loving this. This is great. So people are learning here. So you created the dinner series.
Then it turned into a conference.
Then it turned into a conference. Did you raise money for the conference?
Nope. All cash flow. It was all, because the way that the conference business works is it works off of deferred revenue.
Right.
As you've seen in the probably other, the Fire Festival stuff.
Yeah. Great reference point.
Probably not a good reference point. But anyways, and so we basically did that. We sold tickets, did the sponsorships, and then we would execute on the conferences.
Yeah. How many
And
conferences are we talking? Not one?
we did 4 or 5
Oh,
while I was
okay.
juggling
I was
juggling 2 jobs, and we did them in sectors. So we did them future of wellness, future of food, future of beauty. So we did them all sectorized when we first started, and then we quickly learned that actually there's such a cross-pollination between food, wellness, and beauty and product companies and consumer investors, consumer retailers. The founders, and they all want to learn from each other because there's this evolution of retail that's happening right now, that we combined all of those 3 different verticals and launched new verticals at our discovery shows. So it's interesting because we now are huge, like a very large scale, and I hate using the word, but it's trade show, right? But I think it's next gen because we're doing buyer one-on-ones. It's not like in that.
It's an awesome show.
It's an awesome show.
Yeah,
it's a discovery show.
Yeah, you go.
It is.
It's not a trade show.
It's not. It's a discovery show.
Yeah.
And it really is. I mean, the dream, it's funny because in 2008, I quit my job in finance to fly, and I have no idea why I did this. This is like crazy entrepreneur stuff. Quit my job, didn't even show up because I was like, I need to go to the Consumer Electronics Show. And this is not like me. And I was like, I don't know why, but the Consumer Electronics Show, which is the biggest consumer show and consumer and retailer show for technology, and it's the biggest one in the country, and I flew there and now I realize what we're building what we're building is actually what the Consumer Electronics Show is for tech. We're building that for consumer brands and food, wellness, beauty. So we're showcasing all the innovations every year, and we're bringing and it's almost like the World's Fair for these consumer brands.
I got so many.
But I have a photo of me hugging the CES wall sign and not knowing why. This is 10 years ago, and I'm like, look, it's on my Instagram, and I'm like, this is crazy, because that journey, I had no idea that I was going to be in the Discovery Show business or the trade, the summit business, or that I even wanted to build CES at the time. And now it's crazy. And we brought in the CFO who helped scale it. So it's all these funny little parts of.
Ooh, that's some learning tips. Okay, so
Yeah.
we do have to take a break. We'll come back in a second after hearing from one of our sponsors. But we're going to hear more about this. I usually cut to a conclusion, but we're not going to. All right, so coming back from where we were at, you're describing pretty much the 1,000 conferences that you're doing. Before we get into, I want to hear more on that. I'm going to show you where we have come back from. So, butternut squash team.
Yes.
How's that?
That is A+.
Right.
A+.
Golden goodness right there, guys. So that's about 20-25 minutes at 420 degrees Fahrenheit. Got ourselves a food processor just here, and the lovely goodness of quality coconut milk. Do you know much about this as a health product?
No.
Okay.
Tell me about it.
Okay, one thing I always talk about, it's probably because it's most motivating for the current generation, is it's got MCT oil, which helps with your thyroid, particularly activating an element called T3 and T4, which is really good for then, obviously, your metabolism. So, by having coconut milk, you help with your weight loss, in short. So I'm just going to add the liquid base first. It also, more importantly, adds a super nutty, coconut creamy nature to any spread, which is what we're about to do. At Charlie Street, our spreads are the signature item. And I'm just going to chuck our lovely butternut squash in there. And just simply blitz. And that is one of the easiest things you can do in making I guess a butternut hummus, butternut squash spread, kind of like a next level avocado.
Love it.
Yeah. All right, quality check. I'm just gonna get the spoon inside. Now you're checking this.
Oh my God. Holy
Describe it to our
moly.
legends. What do you got? What do you got for me?
Flavorful.
Oh yeah.
I mean, this is actually something I would take the bowl and I would stick my finger. It's like the way that you feel about brownie dough or cookie dough. You would sit there and you'd be with your finger and you'd just be it's like buttery. Awesome.
Winning. All right, I'm glad I got the ticket of approval. Fantastic. From the Chief Ethics Officer of Foundamate. It's great.
/ I'm too humble. Really good.
That's great. So, all right. So I'll get to we've got all the elements of the tahini time now sorted, but I want to continue on from the conversation left off. So you've got 4 conferences. At what point, what's the next stage? Do you say, okay, I now obviously have a viable business model. I'm showing decks to people to show proof of concept. I know I need X amount of startup capital. What was the stage of that? And how much of this was from your, I guess, investment knowledge did you take on? Or were you consulting people and asking a lot of advice?
It's so interesting because though I've been to business school, I've done all the homework, and then I also worked in VC, so I know how everything works. But it is interesting as an entrepreneur because it's a personal decision whether you take on capital or not. And also different businesses need different things. And I think when we first started, and we did a little angel round of $200K, but it was with amazing angels like Gary Vaynerchuk and amazing humans. No, amazing. And frankly, he was one of the first checks in, and he's just been insane as just an investor advisor. But we did that. We actually didn't touch that capital, and we have operated off of our profits and built the team and built our business, since then. So
your business model was so strong from the start that even though you got an investment from anybody, but you had an investment from someone like Gary, you didn't even need to use that capital that he provided to you.
Well, it's different than a tech business, right? A tech business, you would need a certain amount of capital. You're operating off of a totally different valuation. But because we're in the events, and trade show business.
No,
not trade show. No, the Discovery Show business, and we're doing awesome with the cash flow and building the team, and it depends on what we end up launching. If we decide to do something that's in the realm of marketplace or tech, that'll
obviously change everything, won't it?
Yeah.
So where are you at right now with business? Like, what's firstly really exciting you right now? Because I know you're just an excited person, but you're fired.
I'm a very excited person.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. We just brought on someone from TED, and so we're basically building a CEO summit. Think almost like consumer brand founders. It's always been my dream to basically bring a founder up on stage and have them do a keynote and have them say, hey, this is my story and this is what I'm launching now and this is what my mission in the world is. And so that actually is coming to fruition in November. So we're doing a CEO summit. We're scaling these. We're oversold right now for our June show, and we're going to go and do bigger space for our next shows. But we have the East and West Summit. So June 26th is Discovery Show East. October 16th is in Santa Monica is Discovery Show West, and then we're doing a CEO Summit. So in between, we're launching and helping these brands build through like all of our digital marketing and co-marketing ships and stuff like that.
That is exceptional.
It's so fun. It's so fun. It's like such a fun business, and also the thing I'm most excited about is the team. So
yeah,
it's awesome.
I mean, you are very passionate about your team.
Yeah.
As a leader, as the leader, I guess you really have that. You have that genuity, that notion to really look after your team, but also look after isn't just care for. It's actually find ways to empower, to grow, help them grow, and not a carrot that would be selfish for you, but a carrot for them. And I think that's really important.
Yeah.
And I can see as you grow, new opportunities arise. Like, okay, see, that means this person. I can see it. The first person you think of would be not yourself about new opportunities, which is really, really cool. So, what is a current average day at Founder Made like?
Well, this morning we went on we do these founder runs, and anyone in Soho that's an entrepreneur or business builder, you can join me at our office in Soho. We did a 7:30 team run, so that was this morning.
What?
Where we did a early morning run, and it was raining, which was so fun because half of our team was like, what's great about the rain? They said, it's great that we're running in the rain. It shows perseverance. It shows commitment. I was like, yes, these are the people I want to build businesses with. These are the people that want to run in the rain. So we ran in the rain. It was awesome. And then, again, like there's a ton of, we get product. We look at products. So we are the brand curators. We get a ton of product, at our sent to our office. So we're always like looking at them because you can see something that looks great online, but you actually, if you're in the food business or beauty business, you actually have to touch, taste, see it.
Yeah.
And so making sure that we have our meetings where we're looking at all the products. We're discovering which ones we want in the shows. We're, obviously thinking about ones that we want, to introduce to investors and retailers. And so that's like part of that. What else do we do? My day is like usually back to back with a bunch of different meetings. Co-selling.
Do you usually have a 2 p.m. podcast?
I love this 2 p.m. podcast. And also walking in, and I love the fact that there's no sign on the doors. It's just like Charlie Street.
Yeah.
And you walk down into the thing and and then all of a sudden you're on a you're on a Food Network set. This is crazy. I was like, this is amazing. This is really this is like the stuff that I watch on TV, and I'm now stepped in on it. It's like a movie set.
Welcome. Yeah, it's funny.
It's crazy.
Like speakeasy kitchen.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's fun.
So exciting.
I'm glad you like your 2 p.m. today then. So let's also talk about your morning routine. Are you always going for a run? Is that?
I do a class called 30-60-90,
That's right.
which is the high intensity interval training where
Yeah.
you jump and you do a bunch of different, just really like high intense burpees, you name it.
Yep.
And then I, get to work. I tried and this is something that I'm really working on, is 2 hours of clear focus, so that no one on your top priority tasks before you go into meetings.
Yeah.
Because if you're not getting you're not taking the first 2 hours. For me, I'm a morning person, so that is the morning routine of getting your top three.
It is now, just FYI guys, it's 3 p.m. We
No,
have
but
some energy firing.
Because of your energy.
Your leader, all right?
It's like energy is all building.
Okay, and with that in mind, like, you know, your eating habits, are they, you know, are they very routine based as well?
It's so, I don't even think, this is the problem, and this is actually, I think we need to definitely do Charlie Street orders for the team.
Yeah, sure.
So, because we have a 4th floor walk-up, and so nobody wants to leave for lunch.
Yeah.
So people are trying to cook, and then we'll try to do, you know, different food services, and so we're figuring it out right now. So there's not like a major routine.
Okay. We'll sort something out. That's fine.
I like this.
That's
So
an
Charlie
easy
Street,
solve.
I think everyone would be very excited about.
So you talk about 2 hours before you do anything. I think it's a really good point, because it's so often that we have these meetings, or you have a meeting, or you have something active, and just like we have at the gym, we need to recover from that. It's so funny when we, you know, plan meetings, do the meeting or do something, but then don't analyze it afterwards or recover and think about it. So to have this time is so important.
Yeah.
And do you schedule that in? Is that something that's like within your, like your team will know that
2-hour time blocks, you don't bother me.
Don't touch me.
I'm starting to do that
Cool.
because I think it's really important that, you know, it's interesting because as an entrepreneur you get 100 different opportunities and you can think about 100 different things, and because I have a very big vision for Founder Made and for, you know, the team and everything, I want to do so many things at once, but really at the end of the day, we have to earn the right for each different phase of the business. So staying hyper focused on number one, core business, and then building from there is what, you know, is the discipline. And then also staying hyper focused on, as an entrepreneur and as the CEO, where is my time best spent? And you know, and figuring out, and as the business grows, the business needs different things, and your time's spent differently as the CEO. So
100%. The value of time is incredible.
time management, prioritization.
How good.
I know, effectiveness.
Very much so.
Not being efficient, but being effective.
Maddie, how do I do it being time effective? I mean, having you is just a lifesaver.
I think you either need a person or you need to physically block it.
Yeah, she's like my guard.
No, that's huge. And I think that I think when I first had my first businesses, I felt like I needed to do everything. And so I thought, because I was a good generalist. And then the reason I think Founder Made's done so well is because I realized how bad I was at so many different things, and then I hired around my weaknesses. And so I have the team I work with, they're amazing. They're stronger, they're just incredible humans, and they work really hard, and they fill in the gaps, and they all know, you know, and they, just like probably Maddie does, like fills in the gaps. And
oh, she does more than that, trust me, she's fantastic.
Yes. A+.
Yeah, A+. Okay, so outside of Founder Made, where is Meghan Asha in the next few years? What are you doing? Outside of Founder Made, what are you doing for you?
Me and my fiance, we've been together for 6 years.
Right.
And so we're gonna get married in September. And it'll be amazing. And we both are entrepreneurs, so it's been an interesting journey. So that's number one, is I'm getting married to Lev Brie, who's awesome. And
That's my brother.
he's amazing.
Do you get down on one knee?
So it's interesting, actually. I'm
Hey,
being as like transparent. You're gonna hear everything, and you can cut it out or not.
This is great.
But I think that it's really important that you, like, especially being in a longer relationship. We were together, and then we were together for 5 years or 4 years, and then we split up last year. And it was more just, we both weren't happy, and we both needed to find ourselves. I think we had started off in school together. Like, he was doing computer science. I was doing business school. And so we almost had like started off when like no one believed in us, no one, you know, and we had all these, like, we came out of business school and we're like, or in computer science, and he was getting his master's in computer science. We're like, we're gonna crush it, and the world's just gonna open up for us. And then literally, like, the person, like he tries to start a search company, and then I'm trying to do Founder Made and juggling 2 jobs, and it was just like this very interesting journey as a couple. And I think I think we just needed to learn about ourselves and separate for a little bit. And we came back, and it's like the best relationship I've ever had. He's the love of my life. It's like the best thing ever. And I guess my point of this is, it's like, you had asked the question, what was the question exactly? Sorry, please cut this.
What is like the future for you, Meghan, as opposed to
Yeah.
Founder Made?
Yeah.
What is your future?
I went off on a tangent, so just cut that
No,
out.
I love this.
But the future is I get to continue to build. I get to, and partially building is building myself.
Sure.
And fully realizing myself. And the way that I have been learning to fully realize myself is through traveling and doing these crazy marathons, pushing my physical body to that. I would love for us to have a charity at some point, helping entrepreneurs build and helping people that like don't believe in themselves, believe in themselves.
That's fantastic.
And obviously having a family where, and having a partnership, a true partnership where we help each other hand in hand and we build a family and the life that we always wanted. And we actually take real vacations because right now we're like working on the weekends but it's been I think the cool part about everything is the perseverance. Is actually success isn't as sweet without persevering through all the hard times. And that's in your relationships, that's in your business, that's in everything. It's really like, that's the thing that makes me just want to keep going is like, I know that all those hard things, and as long as you realize that it's going to be hard, then it actually becomes easier.
There's a reason why you're in the position you're in. You've taken that for a reason and you're like, wow. Like, I can listen to people like on the listening on, you're like, oh my god, I'm going to get after it. I'm going to persevere. I'm like, oh my god, it's going to happen. Oh my god, yes.
Perseverance game.
Yeah.
A plus.
A plus. So let's, before you serve up, if you were a food, it could be an ingredient or a meal, what would you be? And why? And you can't look at the plate of butternut squash and just say, I would be that.
You can't, no. What if I was a food, what would I be? I know, I read this question, I didn't.
Oh, I even gave you, pre-game.
I know you gave me pre-game, which is great. I would be, oh my goodness, cayenne pepper. I would be cayenne pepper because I come in hot. And it's intense and it's a lot for people, but then they also kind of like it.
I can't beat that. That is the best.
It's true though.
You've set the bar high. Come in hot.
You it's a lot. It's not a lot.
Well, on that note, let's finish off with some heat itself. We've got our butternut squash. This is how we do it at Charlie Street. We start with the spread. I'm blown away by cayenne, that's right. And we kind of like add a bit of swag to this. So I get our spreaders, so we call our team members, to kind of create their own swag. So there we got our lovely little creamy goodness down there, coconut butternut squash. We then add our greenery, just like that. Top it off with our grain. Today we got quinoa. You can also get wild rice.
Yes.
Yeah, you can even do cauliflower rice.
This is beautiful.
Yeah, this is all about the colour. We then have my favourite roasted vegetables we have here at Charlie Street currently in season. We've got a sweet potato hash, which is the most baller thing in the world, and everyone can do that at home. Roasted cauliflower, everyone's favourite thing that can take on any form of flavour, but even just adding salt and pepper and olive oil is epic. And of course, the humble Brussels sprout with a nutty bit of walnuts, and that is a super tasty tahini time, just like that. As you can see, that little bit of swag down the bottom is a Charlie Street signature item. And Meghan Asha, I would have to say you are a signature person in your own right. Cayenne pepper or not, you are definitely coming in hot, and it's been an absolute pleasure to hang out with you. I just think this so. I want to get on again because it's just too much to talk about, to be honest. We've gone way over time, and that's a good sign.
It's great.
So, from me to you, thank you for your time, and of course, you are killing what you're doing. You're inspiring many, inspiring me. So just
You're inspiring me.
Keep
being a rock star. You're inspiring me. Crazy.
Enjoy.
Thank you.